Hello, Lightning Leaders. I'm excited today because we're going to do some math together. And yes, I am reading off a script. I told my class when we were writing our plays that teachers, yes, do write scripts sometimes, especially if you want to be a YouTuber, like where this video is going. Even though you're watching this from far away, I could still hear you groan when I said math. Math is my favorite subject next to social today, so I'm super excited to be doing math with you today. I hope you're adjusting to life outside of coming to school. I miss you all. Even those of you that are not my students, I enjoyed seeing you in the hallways, exchanging smiles, and getting hugs from my former students. Today we're going to talk about addition. We're going to be jumping in the Wayback Machine and traveling all the way back to Module 1 in September and October. I'm going to start with the hundreds, tens, and ones chart. Then we're going to move on to tape diagrams and finally end with the standard algorithm. After we tackle addition review, we're going to throw in some rounding, and my students know what that means. The rounding rap is coming. We will review the universal rules for rounding, then practice a couple problems together. Remember, our goal is so that you find one strategy that works for you, and you understand while we work our way to mastering the standard algorithm. Let's get started. In our math packets that came home in those folders in the mail, there is a page that says using strategies to add, and it has a number 7 in the bottom right corner. We're going to start on that page right now. And if you'll notice, it's got a bunch of questions with 4-digit by 4-digit addition. And it starts off kind of nice. They just give us a 4,000 plus a number. I always like it when they start off nice. It makes it nice and easy for us. So let's see. I'm going to pick a marker here. I think this nice deep blue one works really good. So we're starting with 4,000 plus 6,215. Now, I told you we were going to start with a hundreds, tens, and ones chart. I'm just going to write the addition sentence to the side here so that I remember it, so I don't have to keep looking at the paper. 6,215. Okay. Now I'm going to set up my hundreds, tens, and ones chart. I see that my number goes all the way up to the thousands place. So I want to have one extra than the thousands in case I have to bundle and go up to the next place value, which would be the 10,000s. So I'm going to start with my place value chart. Ones, tens, hundreds. I'm going to run out of space here. Thousands and 10,000s. Now, my friends, I'm sure you just did our little chant. A-ta-ha-tha-ta-tha. A little quick funny thing to remember the order that this chart goes in. Now I'm going to put my 4,000 in the place value chart, which means I need 4 discs or 4 circles in my thousands place of my place value chart. So I'm going to put my 4 discs in here. And I always recommend trying to make a 10 frame out of your dots because it's going to help you visualize how many dots are there super quickly. The super fancy math term for that is called subitize, which means you can look at a certain number of things in a pattern and instantly recognize how many there are. And using a tens frame, which is something we've been doing since first grade, even maybe kindergarten, is using a tens frame here at Franklin. So it's something that should be super familiar to you, and I'm going to continue to use it. Now that we have our 4,000 in here, because I don't need to put anything in here because I have zeros in my other place values, I'm going to add in my 6,215. And I'm going to switch my marker color here so that you can see that even more on the screen. Let's see, let's get a nice contrasting color here. Let's try this green one. So now I need to put my 6,215 into my place value chart. If I do that, I need to put in 6 tens. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh, sorry, 6 thousands. 6. 2 hundreds. Notice how I'm keeping my numbers lined up just like I would here in the standard form that I am here in the chart. I need 1 10 and 5 ones. Oops, and I already made a mistake after I said to line them up. See, even teachers make mistakes. We're all human. 1 10, 5 ones. Okay. Now that I have this, I just need to add up my place values. Well, there's 5 here, so that's a 5. There's 1 here, so that's a 1. There's 2 here, so that's a 2. Now, I need to count my dots in my thousands place because there's a lot here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I have 10 here. I can't write a 10 here. You can't have 2 digits in one place value. When you end up with more than 10 in a place value, you need to bundle your 10 and move it to the next place value. So now this is over here, and these are gone. So now there's nothing here. That's a 0 now. And we have a 1 over in the 10,000s. Now our rule with commas is we count 3 digits before we put our commas in because there's a comma every 3 digits in a number. So I'm going to count 1 number, 2 numbers, 3 numbers. There's my comma. So now my answer for the first question there is 10,215. If I were to check it over here doing my standard algorithm, I'm going to get the same answer. 0 plus 5 is 5. 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 2 is 2. And 4 plus 6 is 10. Let's try another question. It's looking like question 2 is pretty similar, and so is question 3. So let's go down the left side of the column. Let's use a tape diagram for question 4. I'm going to erase this. If you need to see this any longer, just pause the video. I'm going to erase this and get ready for question 4. Now, question 4 says 3,000 plus, I'll write it over here so I don't forget, 3,000 plus 6,871. We're going to use a tape diagram here. Now this is a little different visual model from the place value chart. The place value chart lets you manipulate those dots and really move them around. The tape diagram is just another visual model to show us what addition is going to look like. Now I know that I need to combine these two things together. So when I make my tape diagram, which is just a nice long piece of tape here, a rectangle, I know that my total thing, I'm using S for sum because sum is the answer to an addition question. I know that this whole thing is going to be what happens when I combine these two pieces together. But I have 2 separate pieces, and one is bigger than the other. So I'm going to divide my tape diagram up like this. 3,000 is going to go in one of them, but 6,871 is going to go in the other box. This picture is going to become super important when we start doing some word problems later in the packet. It's just something that we wanted to go over now so that it wasn't something that was just out of the blue when we got to the word problems. Because it's kind of hard to still add this way using the tape diagram. Now if we jump back over here, our picture matches our standard algorithm, and we just add them up. 1, 7, 8, 3 and 6 is 9. So our answer is 9,871. Let's jump down to question 7. If you need to look at this any longer, just pause the video. If not, we're going to move on. Let's look at question 7. So again, we're going right down the left side of the page. This time, we're just going to do the standard algorithm. So let's take a look here. 5,020 plus 1,491. Okay. Whenever we add, subtract, or multiply, The rule is you start on the right. It's the one thing where math gets a little tricky because when in reading, we read left to right. But in math, when we add, we're going right to left. We always want to start in the ones place. So if we look at our ones place, we have 0 plus 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. Now we jump over to our tens place. In our tens place, we have a 2 and a 9. 2 plus 9 is 11. So I just do that. Now I can hear half of you groaning right now. Mr. S, you can't do that. Well, why not? Just like with our place value chart, you cannot have 2 digits occupying the space for one place value. I can only leave my 1 from the 11 here. And I have to carry over my 1 to the hundreds place because I had 11 tens. And 10 tens equals 100. So I had to move them over. Now I need to add this 1 into the 4 that is already here, which is 5. And then 5 plus 1 is 6. So our answer is 6,511. I'm going to leave the rest of the questions for you to try on your own. At the end of the video, I will put up the answers so that you can check your work. But before I do that, I want to talk about questions 10 and 11 because they're a little different from the rest of the page. Question 10 says, what strategies did you use to solve the problems? Explain. Now in my class, we've been talking about whatever you do in your head to solve the question is what they want you to put on the paper. When they say explain your work in words, they want you to write out what you did here in words. So you could have used the hundreds, tens, and ones chart, the place value chart, you could have used a tape diagram to see the picture, or you could have used the standard algorithm. Then, it says to check your answer to problem 6 by solving it with a different strategy. So what they want you to do in that question is, let's say we solve question 6 using the standard algorithm. Well, then they want us to check it with maybe the place value chart. Or if you're super ambitious, you can try the number line, but the number line is super hard. I wouldn't try that with super big numbers like this. So once again, at the end of this video, I will put up the answers to the remaining questions. If you have any questions on how to solve any of these, please reach out to your teacher, and I'm sure they will be able to help you. I'll see you guys next time for multiplication.